This is episode 11 of the BTS Creative Academy Podcast. To be or not to be. Joining me in conversation is Nathan Parry-Davies.
Good morning, Nathan.
Good morning, Martin. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well.
Good.
Doing quite well, actually, and it's nice to be able to say that.
Yeah.
It's often you get when people say, "How are you?" Sometimes you jump to, all right.
Yeah.
But at this moment in time, things feel quite good.
That's really nice to hear.
Yeah. And more importantly, as my guest on the podcast, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. No, I'm doing very well as well. I'm at a very, very good place actually this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I feel very zen.
You feel zen?
Very zen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that?
I think mainly, and I don't know about you, but things are just sort of falling into place a little bit.
Okay.
But especially this past sort of month, I'd say. Mainly because, well, in my personal life, myself and my girlfriend have just bought a house together.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're moving out of our rented place that we've stayed in for a year now, and it will be our first bought house together, which we're very, very excited about. And
Adulting,
adult life.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you.
And I say that adulting because I've known you since you're quite young.
Yeah.
Haven't I?
Probably about 12, 13 maybe.
12, 13
Yeah,
when I first knew you, when you were doing class at theatre school.
Oh yeah. In this very building.
In this very building,
Yeah.
in this theatre. Young Nathan growing up
Bless
to be an adult.
Yeah, I know.
And buy his first home. So
Come very quick.
So yeah, that is a huge landmark. And and do you mind if I ask how you've managed to do that at this time? Because I speak to a lot of people that are struggling right now to make them big leaps. It's a difficult time for many.
100%. It's been very, very lucky is the word I would use.
Okay.
I'm lucky enough that my partner is a career-driven woman, and she's very much a girl boss.
Okay.
And she very, very independent. And so a lot of the times I feel like I'm just riding off of her tail a lot of the times. But no, she's brilliant. She's great, and she knows exactly what she wants, and she's been saving up for this since she was about 16. So she knew exactly what she wants. She had it all planned out. Yeah. And I'm just sort of there along for the ride. Really,
yeah.
I've emotional support. That's what I'm there for.
Good.
But another point as well is obviously the housing crisis that we're in at the minute, and I get asked that a lot, like, oh, how have we managed to do that? And I think it comes down to luck, but as well, because of the housing crisis, no one's buying, and so the places that we've viewed and seen have been within our budget, and because no one's viewing places really at the minute, we were the only ones really available to go for it. So we found a place within our budget. No one else is looking, so we thought, well, actually, now's the perfect time.
If you've got access to the money,
exactly. And so we were thinking, do we just wait? Like, the prices might go down. But then we thought, if we do wait a year and the prices do go down, and then suddenly everyone's just going to be grabbing up left, right, and centre, and then we might miss our chance. So we thought, now's probably
the window worked.
The window worked for us. Yeah.
For you at this time. Nice. Yeah. That's really good, and that must feel good as well.
It does feel good. I think it's still sinking in. It's still sinking in. I think once our stuff's there, once I see the sofa in the living room, I'll be like, oh.
So when's the moving in date?
Oh, we don't know yet. It's very early on, but they've accepted us, and we've given our final date that we're going to be leaving. So I reckon it will be sort of maybe end of September.
Okay.
September, October time. Yeah.
So you say your partner's career driven.
Yeah.
I see you as someone that's quite career driven as well.
Yeah.
From what I see from you on what you're doing with your life on social media. So where are things with you in that aspect of your career?
Yeah.
Have you finished studying?
Finished studying. Yeah. I was at Italia Conti.
Yeah.
I've been there for 4 years. Can't even pronounce the bloody name. I was there for 4 years, trained as an actor, and now I'm back home. I graduated in 2022, and since then I've been in a few acting projects. What did I do? Straight off of the bat, I worked with a company called Frantic Assembly. I did their flagship program called Frantic Ignition, which is a program aimed at young people between the ages of 16 to 24. And what the company does is they scout people from across the country. They open these trials and workshops, and they're completely free. They do them across the country now, so from Scotland all the way down to Brighton. Any theatres, local theatres that you can go to, that easy access. They did 2 in London, and I've really admired the company since I was about 16. I think I first learned about them in school, and I was drawing posters and all of that, and I was thinking, oh, actually, they're pretty cool. So they've always been in the back of my mind as a company that I've really, really wanted to work with. And so when I graduated, I saw a post online that they were opening these workshops again. They do them every year, but since COVID, they've been closed for a bit. So it was the first year that they were back open. And I thought, oh, wow, I've got to get involved somehow. So I sent them an email and all of that saying, I'd love to get involved. Here's the dates that I can do. I'd like to book in for the one in Brixton. And they're like, fantastic, yeah, they've got a space for you, come down. And as I said, completely free, so that was great. Went down there, did the trial, loved it, met loads of really cool people who work with the company. They seemed to get on with me. And they said, yeah, get yourself on to the next one. And the next one was the trial one. So the one where they actually make the decisions of who's going to be in the company for this year. And I was like, yeah, fantastic. All of them were booked in London that I couldn't go to. So I had to go all the way up to Peterborough on my night off at 7 o'clock. Didn't get back until 2 a.m. Got there, did the trial, amazing. Really, really great. The same people who were at my previous one were there, and they instantly recognised me. And so that was really fun. And we got on really well. And yeah, after that, I think literally the next day or 2 days after, they sent me an email saying we'd like you to be in the company for 2022. And I thought, fantastic. A company that I've admired for so long, and I'm going to be working with them for about a week. So how it works was then I had to pack my bags, and then in a few weeks' time I was heading off to London to stay in a hotel with 25 other guys and girls my age, and we were led by the people who lead Frantic Assembly. So Scott Graham, the artistic director, and then other associate directors that he had brought along with him. And then we create a piece of theatre in just a week, and then we put it on in Brixton to a house of other actors, other friends of Frantic Assembly, our parents, loved ones, family, all of that. And so that was really nice. Yeah, it was a really great experience. And everyone got on so well. Everyone was so excited to be there. All in the same boat like me, had admired Frantic Assembly for so long. And yeah, it was a really, really just nice experience.
Tell me more about that experience once you got on board with them. So this is the process of you becoming part of Frantic Assembly.
Yeah.
So what did you do within the productions? What did that?
Yeah. So at the start of the week, at the first day, they sort of gave us the rundown of what it was going to be like, and we're going to split you off into 2 companies. They said it'll be a yellow company and a blue company, and you'll both do very, very different pieces. You'll both do very different pieces, but they'll have the same theme. And the theme that they went with for 2022 was sleep. And the reason that they came up with that was because they felt like the company, especially Frantic Ignition, had been asleep for so long because of COVID. Now that coming back to it, there was a sort of an awakening for the company. And so, yeah, it was a very, I think, even though they didn't say it, but sort of a very special moment for them to be able to bring it back, because at the time of COVID, no one really knew what was going to happen, how long everything was going to stay closed for, especially the arts. And so for them, I think it was a really big moment. So we delved into what sleep means for every individual person, and how they work, it was really, really nice, because we just sat around like we are now, just sort of talking about themes of sleep and what that means to us. And everyone had really, really different perspectives on it. Some were good, some were bad. And then we tried to weave that into our overarching story. So they really tried to give everyone sort of a moment to express how they felt about sleep. And so what I did for mine, I think we were talking about dreams in one session and how vivid they can be. And my dream, well, as a person, I'm not sure about you, but I always struggle to remember my dreams as soon as I wake up. I'm like, I know I dreamt about something, but something was there, something happened, but for the life of me, I can't remember it.
Okay.
Apart from when I was a kid, I've had a dream that I've always remembered, and it was a dream that I had this dog, this really beautiful blonde Labrador, and this Labrador became my best friend. No one else in the world mattered apart from this Labrador. I don't think I even came up with a name, but he was just there. Didn't need a name because he was my best friend. And we did everything together.
And this was a one-off dream?
This was just a one-off dream. Never had this dream ever again.
Right.
It was just once when I was like about 11 or 10. And I wake up, and then I run to my mum and say like, oh, where's the dog? Where's the dog? And mum was like, we haven't got a dog. What are you on about? Are you allergic to dogs? And I was like, oh yeah, I am. Of course I am. But that dream felt so real that I genuinely believed that I had a dog best friend. And so I really lent into that in our sessions and said like how powerful dreams can be. Like they can shape who we are when we wake up. They can completely change a person's direction in life. They can believe something to be true when it's not. And
how do you feel that changed your direction in life?
What, with the dog?
With the dog, yeah.
I don't know.
Did that leave you with anything other than perhaps wanting a dog?
Well, yeah, that was the sad thing. I really wanted a dog after that, but I couldn't because I was allergic.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, as a kid it probably made me, actually looking back on it, reflecting on it, probably made me distraught, actually, that I'd lost a friend that I actually never had.
Okay.
Probably
sense
made
of
me
abandonment,
more
maybe?
Yeah, sense of abandonment. It's probably a sense of longing for a friend, maybe.
Right.
Maybe that I'm still lacking. Maybe.
Right. Okay.
But no, with that dog, and when we actually did the performance, I got to do this monologue that I wrote myself, and it was just talking about how like, looking back, I don't care that the dog was never real, in a sense, because that one dream that I had, that one dream that I remember, has stayed with me until today, and it will stay with me until I die. And that dream, that one dream that I had that I can remember, was amazing, and I loved every second of it. And it made me really, really happy looking back at it, even though he's never there. I don't have, I'm not sad about it because he was never actually real. But in the time that I spent with that dog, I loved it, really loved it. And so in the overarching story of the show that we put on, it was like little moments like that we all had, and it made it a really, really special performance because we all had a personal input into it. It was really, really lovely.
What was the mission of this company then? What were they looking to achieve by putting on a production like this?
Well, I think the goal for a company like that is to reach as many young people as possible. I mean, we were talking about with your Creative Academy, and it's outreach at the end of the day, really. If they can reach as many young people as they can to bring them into the arts, because they're not looking for the next James Bond or stuff like that. They're looking for young artists who want to create, and they're not looking for particularly actors either. They scouted people who, from dance academies, from parkour artists, stuff like that, dance and ballet. And so it's not just like, oh, we specifically just want actors who do Shakespeare. It's like everyone who has a creative input can be a part of this company and gain something from it. Yeah.
So is there a future with you in this company, or is this something?
Yeah, I mean, once you finish, you're in they say like the frantic team for life, really. I've got a T-shirt back home that says Frantic Ignition 2022,
right.
And sort of the idea behind it is that once you're part of it, you're in it for life, really. And that at any point when Frantic Assembly are putting on a production, at the minute they're doing a play called Metamorphosis, and that's going to be running in London and touring, actually, I believe. I have to check the dates on that, but yeah, they've got a few Frantic Ignition graduates in that, and so, from like 2016. So a lad who did Frantic Assembly in 2016 has now been brought back to be a main part in Frantic Assembly show. So you're always like in their contacts, and that when they run these trials and workshops again, the people who run them are previous Frantic Ignition graduates. So yeah, you're always sort of buzzing in and around everything.
How does that feel to have got in with a company like that, something that you looked up to and admired?
Yeah.
You did a, what should we say, is it like a season?
Yeah, a season with them, yeah.
And now that you're part of a family, how does that feel?
It feels really nice. It feels like you're a part of something bigger than yourself, and we really felt that while we were doing it as well. We were like we're the 2022 Frantic Ignition group. Like no one else will have this experience that we're in right now. And I think a lot of actors doing like a long season show will definitely understand that, and that you're part of something bigger than yourself. You're part of something that you all are really, really passionate about, and that you really, really want to share to the world, you want to share to your loved ones. And so I do think that it's not a lot of people really understand that, other than actors. When you're part of something in that environment that you're all so passionate about, and that you love every second of it. Well, not every second.
Not every second, but
there are some times. But you know,
you love more than you.
Yes,
you don't.
Yes. Yeah. And you want, just genuinely, you want the best for everyone around you. Like you're sitting in the wings as someone's doing their bit, and you're like giving them every ounce of encouragement. And that's something that I think I've only ever experienced doing stuff like that, doing acting. And it's just such a lovely, lovely feeling.
To tell me about where this, where acting started for you. Where was the beginning of acting? Well, like we already mentioned, I knew you when you were young.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was your start of discovering acting?
Well, it started in this very, very room, Martin.
Really?
It did. I'd say at school, I was a very average person in terms of grades. I didn't really excel at anything. And the only interest that I had really was acting. And it was getting to the point where...
So you did enjoy acting at school? You did enjoy performing at school?
Yes, yeah, I did in a sense. I always saw this, like the Class Act Theatre School, as a bit of fun and games. And then when we did a show, I can't remember, what was it called now? It was the ancient Greek one. It was ancient Greece, but it was spelt Greece as in the
Grease Lightning.
Grease Lightning.
yeah, the film. Yeah,
and I think Simon did that again, didn't they? Like, was it this year or last year?
I do believe they have repeated it. Yes.
And I remember doing that, and I had the part of Aristotle. And looking back now, that's really funny. But as a kid, you know, just get on with it, learn your lines. And but I loved it, and I had this great moment on stage where every actor feels it when like the applause starts going at the end, and like in that moment I believed like, oh, I'm really funny. I'm really funny, and like they love me. At 12 years old.
So at 12 years old, you went from enjoying doing some drama at school, to you did an outside club for drama that put on a production.
Yes. And
you experienced something that you hadn't experienced before.
I experienced something different, and I think it was sort of linking back to what I just said. A bit of there was a community there. I think after doing that show, I saw cats in a different way, and I saw it.
For those that don't know.
Class Act Theatre School.
Right, yes, yeah.
Victoria.
Because we've spoke about dogs, so for the listener.
There's an animal theme going in this podcast.
For cats and dogs.
What was I saying? I saw Class Act Theatre School as more of a community instead of just having fun and games. And I really, really started to enjoy the environment that was going around, and I needed more of it. I needed more of that in my life. So when I finished school, it was the options. Well, I didn't really have a lot of options, really. I could go to university, but I didn't really know what I would study. Nothing really fascinated me enough. And I didn't want to do acting at a university where, 80% of it's written work and then 20% of it's, because to me that's just not acting in a way. So my dad then told me about drama school, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Because I looked at that and that was like 90% acting and then 10% written. So I thought, oh, fantastic, that's exactly what I want. And looked around all the ones that I could go to, and didn't get into any of them. And I was really sort of down in the dumps about that. I was 18-year-old thinking, but I'm Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm
works,
so good.
And it's hard when you was in this drama club class. That things were working for you.
Things were working, and I was loving it. And then to be told, oh, not this year.
Yeah,
not this year.
Not quite good enough.
Not quite. Yeah. And so after that, I was sort of down in the dumps. That I didn't get into anywhere. I think I auditioned for about 8 in the span of like 3 weeks, and so it was just like travelling to place and place and place. Like I went all the way to Wales to do the Royal Welsh one, but no, nothing came of that. I had to stay overnight in a hotel. Dad came with me for that one.
Right.
And then on the last sort of like, I was sitting on my bed and I was like, no, you're not going to work this year. I've got to look at something else. And then Dad came into my room and was like, I've just seen this one on Facebook. It's called Italia Conti. I'd never heard of it. I was like, yeah, all right, Dad. And he said, like, but you could sign up for the last possible day that they're doing auditions this year. And I was like, oh, I've got nothing else to lose, might as well. Yeah. So I did that. And then literally 2 days later, they said, yeah, we'll have you. And so I was like, oh, fantastic. They said, we're not going to give you the BA course. We'll put you on the foundation course. So I did the foundation, got onto that. And then after my 1 year on the foundation course, you have to audition again if you want to go into the BA. Of course I did. And then I got a unconditional offer, which basically means that you are like guaranteed a place on this course. And I was like, wow.
So you managed to turn it around from a place of being heavily rejected to being embraced.
Yeah, and that was that same feeling that I was talking about before. That sense of community came rushing back, and it was a really, really nice feeling. I think I remember we were at a party when it was the last day of the foundation year, like the grad ball, and I started just bawling my eyes out that I had actually got onto this course that I'd like dreamt of being on for so long. And I think that tends to happen to me. It just sort of hits me all at once.
Yes.
It doesn't come slowly. Mm-hmm. It just happens all at once.
So is there any advice that you'd give to anyone that's in that place that you was, of going to all these drama school auditions, and it not working out for them? What would you say to someone like that now? Yeah, it's difficult, because I know that I was very, very lucky. I know a lot of people that I know tried to get into drama school for about 5 years, and then got in on the 6th year. And it is just that resilience to being rejected. And rejection's a part of it. Just don't take it as anything personal, because it's really not. It's really not. It's just the time's not right. But the time will be right at some point.
You have to trust that. You have to trust yourself that the time will be right. And as long as you can keep that resilience up, keep going for it. Keep going. I would recommend people to try drama school, but I know that drama school's not for everyone. So it could be a different route. You want to do more self-work. You want to start your business. So yeah, I'd encourage just everyone to have that resilience and just to keep going, because yeah, maybe this year might not be the year, but at some point it will. Yeah.
I guess if it's something that you want,
yeah,
you have to keep pursuing it. You have to keep persevering.
Yeah. And then if you think to yourself, no, this really isn't going to happen, then I would ask, well, the main question to ask yourself is, do you enjoy it anymore? Do you still like it? And if the answer is no, then I would ask, well, why? Why are you still
doing this?
Why are you still doing this? Because it's no benefit to yourself if it's soul destroying. It's really not. And if it does get to that point, then I would say take a break.
So having finished drama school now, early stages of your career is now as an actor. That's the career path that you're still 100% taking. How do you feel that's gave you a good foundation as an actor?
100%. Yeah, I remember going into the foundation course, really not knowing anything about it. Looking back, I didn't even know what course I was on. I remember on the first day, like asking people, where do I go? What course am I on? And like, I really didn't know, because I think partly because I really wasn't expecting to get on.
Right.
And so I felt a bit of like an imposter syndrome going on, like, what the hell am I doing here? Yes. So no, I was very, very nervous, very, very insecure in a sense about my abilities as an actor, because now suddenly going from Class Act Theatre School in Old Harlow now to one of the leading drama schools in London, I was a bit taken back, and I really had to assess my my ego in a way, and had to be a bit humble, and that was absolutely fine. I think, at that point in my life, I was just sort of like, okay, I'm going to absorb all the information. I'm going to be a sponge. I'm not going to assert myself because I don't think I'm there yet. I'm going to learn, and then I'll make a move. But from the 4 years that I did, I became very, very confident in myself, confident in my ability to just be able to breathe, relax, do my job, instead of constantly worrying, because it is a job at the end of the day. Like, we're not messing around really, even though it might look like it from the outside. It is a job, and I do take it very seriously. And I think that's the main thing that I learned, that as much fun as it is, you've got to put the hard work into it, and the fun stuff doesn't come unless you really work hard. So from leaving there, I felt I had a really sort of good understanding of what kind of actor I am, and what kind of work that I want to do, and what kind of stuff that I want to be involved in. And that I think also when you leave, it is sort of like a pin falls, sort of like, and what I mean by that is that there's suddenly nothing. Like, you go from this community that's like supported you this whole time, and then suddenly you're out into the big wide world, and you see all these closed doors, and then that thought goes in your head like, what do I do now? And you just got to take your time with it. You've got to take time going up to every door, seeing if you can open it or seeing if you can't, and then moving on to the next one, moving on to the next one, moving on, until suddenly there's a door wide open for you. And so it can be, I found in the first sort of month or so very overwhelming, that suddenly the world was at my fingertips. There were so many doors that I could go to. Where the hell do I start? And you just got to take your time, learn as much as you can what's happening right now, who's making what, stuff like that. What kind of stuff do you want to get involved with? And I mean, I was very lucky that I left drama school with an agent, so a lot of the weight was taken off of my shoulders and put onto her. And so, in a sense, it is a waiting game as well. Waiting for your agent to say, yes, this door's open, like here's an opportunity for you. But it's also, don't lean solely on your agent. Like, it's a working partnership, you work together. So don't let them do it all. You've also got to pull your weight as well. And so that's where sort of the frantic assembly thing came from. It wasn't that I had a call from my agent saying, this would be right up your street. It's because it was a company that I was genuinely interested in from when I was 16. So I've always kept up to date with them. And now sort of since doing that, I've learned that I should be keeping up to date with loads more companies that I'm interested in. And so that's what you do in your free time as an actor. You learn, you Google, you do stuff on your laptop, you find out what's going on. And that is part of the job that I think not a lot of actors really talk about. Not a lot of people really know that that's what actors do.
Yeah, in between jobs.
In between jobs.
In between jobs, it's finding the jobs.
Yeah, I mean that's a job in itself,
connecting in the
really,
industry.
Yeah, connecting all of that.
And so you said a bit about one of the things you took from drama school is finding out what you want to do as an actor. What is it you want to do? What is it you want to do as an actor? Because there's a funny thing there as well. Is what you want to do as an actor. And it's not necessarily a career that you've always got a choice in.
Yes.
Because there's many, I'd say the majority of the jobs that I've done as an actor weren't through choice.
Yes.
weren't the jobs that I wanted or...
Yeah. Would you say through desperation? Is that the right word? Or
I would say through, not desperation, through finances.
Yeah.
Here's a job that will pay.
Yeah.
Here's a job that may give me experience. As an example, and I'm not saying this in a way that I'm moaning about it, but I worked on a children's activity farm for 4 years as an entertainer.
Yeah.
And did summer shows where I would stand up on a stage and sing Old MacDonald's Farm to 4-year-olds. And hold livestock. Pick up. Old MacDonald had a duck, and I'd pick up a duck, and
well, that's basically Shakespeare.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it was the experience that I gained from that was huge.
Yeah.
But I never set out as an actor wanting to sing to 4-year-olds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't really recognise the experience that I was getting from it.
Yeah.
At the time, I was seeing it that I can do this. I have got the confidence to stand up and sing nursery rhymes, but it's not something that I want to do, or not something where I want to put my skill set to best use.
Yes.
But yeah, I did that for the summers and did Father Christmas work, which was similar at this activity farm. And yeah, the experience looking back has given me a really good, solid foundation with confidence and also with improvisation as well.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Because you don't get up and entertain 4-year-olds without having to think on your feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was something that I was terrible at beforehand, and I shied away from all the time. Whereas now I'm really happy to get involved. Yeah. With that now.
Yeah.
Thanks to that time doing that job that wasn't part of the career path.
Yeah.
So have you found yourself doing anything that yet that isn't part of the career path, that isn't what you want to do?
I mean, I've only really done sort of 2 professional jobs as an actor so far, and both jobs I've really enjoyed, and I've gained so much experience from. They've both been very different. One was a stage show with Frantic Assembly, and then the other was a TV series, and both very, very, very different and both great learning experiences. I think a lot of the stuff that we were just talking about now comes from auditioning and being like, I know I've done so many commercial auditions that have. I did this one for an air freshener, and there was no lines to it. I just had to sniff the air and look pleased. That was all the direction that I got. And it was that. And then I had to do a second tape because one was not enough. I had to do a second tape of me reading a book and then sniffing the air, noticing something smells different, and then realising it's the air freshener and being pleasantly surprised by that, and then happily going back to my book. Never got that job, no, unfortunately. But in the back of my mind, like when I got that, I was thinking, it wasn't even the back of my mind, it was like blatantly, I said it out loud, I said, what the hell is this? But I still did it because I'm in no delusion that starting out, I will pretty much audition for anything, really. I have my limits, I know what I'm not comfortable doing, and I've expressed that to my agent. We have very, very close connection to that, and so we understand what is suitable for me and what is not. What was the question again? I've completely gone blank.
What is it you What is it you want? What is it you want?
What is it
What is it you want as an actor?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was saying. So at this point, I will sort of audition for really anything within my limit. I'm not at a place where I only want to do. I can only audition for Hamlet. I'll only play Hamlet.
Because if you have a mindset like that, then Hamlet's not going to happen.
Yes.
Because to play Hamlet, they want someone with experience and with range.
Yeah, exactly. They'll only look at someone to play Hamlet if they've done several years of other Shakespeare work.
Yes.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that jobs will lead to other jobs, and then that jobs will open more doors, etc., etc., etc. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's finding that path, isn't it, at the moment? And building your connections.
Yes.
And it's okay to want things.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, to want Hamlet.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to be realistic and say, yes, you're going to do a job that you're going to sniff some air freshener along the way. Or like myself, work on a children's activity farm, and when you do that air freshener job, you'll be surprised at the experience that you may develop.
You never know who's like the second AD that you might get on really, really well with, and then the next year they message you being like, oh, there's this thing coming up and I thought of you, and
that does happen. That genuinely does happen.
Yeah, I've made so many great connections on the TV series that I've just worked on called The Devil's Hour on Amazon Prime, and everyone there was so nice. Everyone was really lovely, and they gave me the time of day, and we all had a chat, and the actors especially that I worked with were really, really nice. And but saying that, the crew as well, the crew was amazing. Like the runners were my best friends, became my best friends on set. They were so lovely, and I had really, really great conversations with the writer. Now, as a young actor, I didn't really know the protocol it came to when like speaking to the higher ups. But the writer would just knock on the dressing room, just sort of like, oh, you right, Nathan? Like, mind if I come in and have a chat? You all right? Like, I'm not really doing anything today, so they're on a break, so I thought I'd just, meet the actors and all of that. It was really nice. And like that was sort of like I didn't realise this was a thing, that people were nice. I just assumed that everyone's just sort of like got on with their own stuff. But no, it is all about, like we said, making connections, making friends, and all of that. And then, I've messaged him not that long ago actually, and he seems to be doing well. And we keep in contact. It's really nice.
Good.
Yeah.
So, is there anything lined up next for you at the moment?
Oh, not at the moment. It's one of those dry patches.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in that period of time right now where you're looking for the work.
Exactly.
Building the connections, doing things like this on the podcast. This is all good for your career.
I mean, this has come at quite a good point for me actually. because I'm not doing much.
Yeah. So what else are you going to do with this time other than looking for looking for the jobs that you would like to do?
Yes, I've been in...
Because you've got a mortgage now to think about. Yeah.
Have I? No. So I've been working as a swim teacher as well for the past year. That's my money making job. Really, while I'm not acting. And so I know exactly what you mean, going back to when you was talking about improvisation with like 4-year-olds. I know exactly how you feel, and being on your toes constantly. It is.
So you're a swimming instructor, are you?
Yes. Okay. Teacher mainly. I'd say instructor's probably more for adults.
Right.
So I do sort of mainly children. Children from the ages of preschool to about 16, 18. Yeah. Okay.
How did that? Is that something you've always done as well? Swimming, is it?
Swimming has been a good passion of mine. I think between acting and swimming, those were sort of my two go-to things in life. So at 16, my first job was a lifeguard because it just made sense. It was an easy job to do at that age, and I did that for 3 years. Then left to go to drama school, and then when I came back, I was like, do I want to go lifeguarding again? And I thought, the money's not really in it anymore. So I thought, swim teaching's the job to go to. I was much more confident in speaking. I thought I had the great qualifications being an actor to be able to stand on poolside, give directions and that sort of stuff. I think that's a really good requirement, really good skill to have to be a swim teacher. And it was a very, very good decision because I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm really, really happy with where I am at the minute because I've got my acting jobs that I do and that's my career. And then I also got my side hustle being swim teaching, which I also love as well. So it's, really, really good stuff.
That's amazing. It sounds like you're in a really good place, and I would definitely like to revisit where your career is, even in a year's time, maybe rejoin this podcast in a year from now, and tell me about the journey you've had in the next year.
I mean, going back to the question you asked about what am I going to do in this sort of time period is we talked a little bit about at the start before this with the workshops that you're hoping to do in a few years' time. Workshopping is also something that I'm really, really passionate about as well. I worked with Italia Conti Associates in Bishop Stortford and did some puppetry workshops with them.
So you're continuing to build up your skill set?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And definitely, I mean, if I had the sort of platform for it, sort of like puppetry workshops I'm really passionate about, and just general physical theatre in general is something that from drama school and from Frantic Assembly that I've taken really, really, really big attraction to.
Which is interesting because my previous guest on the podcast was a girl called Izzy Lacey. Do you know Izzy?
Yeah.
You do?
Painter, decorates everything.
An artist, and she's really pursuing a career in puppetry herself.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And she's really interested in doing workshops around puppetry. So maybe we'll get you two together and.
That's a good combo.
Yeah. There is something there for actors. Definitely, there is an art form within puppetry.
100%. Yeah.
And there is a big call for it actually within theatre. Even I've seen films are starting to go back to puppetry as well. Yeah. Films kind of came all, in the 70s and 80s with like Jim Henson. There was a big call for puppets within films, and then it kind of died off a little bit where CGI started to creep into movie making. Whereas I feel like recently it started to be reintroduced.
A lot of people are just sick of the CGI green screens.
There's a nothingness to it. So real life puppetry and animatronics are creeping back into movies. So definitely as an actor, if you want to pursue that side, it will definitely be a much needed skill moving forward.
And they look cool as well, don't they?
They look cool and they're fun. Yeah, definitely. that's all great, Nathan. I really appreciate you coming on to the.
No worries.
I really enjoyed being here. Yeah, it's been lovely seeing you again after all these years. Seeing you I think the last time I saw you was pre-drama school.
Yeah, would have been. Yeah.
So lovely to see you on the other side of coming out there and the positive future that lays in front of you. Yeah. So thanks again, Nathan. I really appreciate you joining me this morning.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
I'm truly grateful to my guests for joining me today and sharing. If you would like to find out more about my guests, you can do so in the description below. And as always, I'm grateful to you, the listener and the watcher. And so, as we continue on this journey of creative exploration together on the BTS Creative Academy Podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe